It's that time again where we mock the mock, where I take a look at someone else's mock draft. And I mock it, give you my opinions on it. It's fun to look at other people's perspectives and evals on the draft as it fastly approaches the 2022 draft. No, I think it's fun. It kind of shows you what kind of guys scouts are really looking at right now. So we're gonna be going in and taking a look at this one's from Pro Football Network, but I'm gonna view it on 24/7 Sports just because it looks cleaner. But by Ian Cummins. So I'll leave a link to it in the description below if you want to check it out. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So let's go ahead. Let's dive into this sucker. So here we are. Let's take a look at who he's got first. I think they're going by Vegas betting odds as well, because that's about all we got right now. Unless you go to playoff predictors, try to predict what will happen in the season, and it'll give you a draft order based off that. All right, so, and for the most part, I'm going to be giving you what I think about the prospect on top of maybe, for the most part, in the top 10, if this team was picking this, why would they do that? So the Detroit Lions, oh man, maybe this isn't Vegas betting odds, but he's got them going first, and Sam Howell. For the most part, we see the first quarterback off the board being either Sam Howell or Spencer Rattler. I think Rattler's a bit more special in what he could do. Obviously, Detroit, if you're drafting first, Goff didn't look good, so you're going to be drafting a quarterback. It's wise. Just go with the best quarterback in the draft. I think it's kind of safe to say at this point, Howell and Spencer Rattler are kind of those options right now. It's just Spencer Rattler, dude. I thought he looked a lot better down the stretch for Oklahoma. If he could be a lot more consistent this season, that would be great. But the dude does have some truly special arm talent. He makes some ridiculous throws that not every quarterback can make. Sam Howell, cannon for an arm. I mean, he's losing a lot of playmakers, but they're bringing back a very veteran offensive line. They do bring in some, like Ty Chandler's going to be there, a running back, but they do play a very RPO-heavy scheme. But the NFL is moving more towards stuff like that. So having a quarterback that can operate in that type of offense, it's kind of a plus. But it's just the offense at North Carolina, it's super simplistic in what they ran, as we saw last year with Des Newsome and De'Ami Brown probably being their most dynamic route runner, and he mainly was just a vertical route runner. But Sam Howell here, okay, I would have gone Spencer Rattler. And then Houston Texans take Spencer Rattler. Yeah, you could go look at my Houston Texans deep dive. I kind of go into why this probably will be the case. They should do this, and they should try to move on from Deshaun Watson. He doesn't want to be there, so much so that he's willing to be like, I don't want to go to Denver. Denver wants me. I want to be in Denver. Fine. Like, he wants out bad. I say just go out and get some good draft capital for him, and then just draft your quarterback of the future. Rattler, I kind of went into why I think he's very special. The dude will be cooking this year. I know some people talk about his douchey personality, and I think a lot of that's based off what TV series he was in. It was like QB1 or something, but I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard much more of that outside of from what they saw on the show. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll get into more of that as the season goes on. I'll try harder to see any of those character red flags. I mean, what didn't they say the same thing about Zach Wilson? Being kind of a snooty rich boy or something. I don't know. Can he throw the football? Let me ask you that. Can he throw the football? We got the Jacksonville Jaguars going Kayvon Thibodeau. Yeah, I really like this a lot. Like, you have Josh Allen, but I mean, he's probably they're gonna have to decide pretty soon if they want to move forward with him. And you might be like, that's kind of crazy, though. Of course you would. Yeah, but I mean, there's always the possibility that they decide not to. But I mean, I think that'd be kind of wild. Kayvon Clavon Chason really hasn't shown much. He was a pretty raw prospect, though, as is. You're not going to pass on Thibodeau just because you got Chason. You're just not. Thibodeau is just stupid athletic. He stacks guys with ease. The guy's phenomenal. Doesn't come off the field. You just love him. You just love him. So, yeah, if I'm Jacksonville, yeah, I'm totally doing this. I don't know where else you would go here, at least this early. Maybe you make a case for tackle. I don't think there's a tackle yet that's like top 5. But, and then, this one's super interesting. The Philadelphia Eagles, they go with Kaiir Elam, but wow, they have him as their first. And this is Pro Football Focus, by the way. That's interesting, having him as their first corner off the board over Steenley. This is a very good cornerback class, but I don't know if it's that close to where someone's going to unseat Steenley right now. I don't know if Elam's even in the, I would say he's a bit better than CJ Henderson, but they're both very similar in size, length, what they bring to the table in terms of their athletic tools. But Elam didn't nearly get blown up as much as Henderson did his final season. But I mean, Henderson was taken at 7 or 8. So yeah, no, totally can see Elam being a top 10 worthy corner. But you're the Eagles, and I guess I'm assuming this is the Eagles' actual pick. So things didn't go well with Jalen Hurts. So I'd probably be trying to move on from that. But with the top 2 cornerbacks or quarterbacks off the board, I get the hesitancy to go with whoever the next quarterback is, which probably for a lot of guys is Malik Willis. Which everyone's going to kind of call him this year's Trey Lance, and that's not really necessarily the case, as Willis comes from a better pedigree. But I think Lance in his one season kind of showed he has that. He might not be terribly accurate, but I think his ball placement was much better than Willis's. So if you're the Eagles and you're sitting on what the Dolphins and the Colts pick, you kind of hope one of those squads still finishes to where they would be drafting in the top 10. Because I think I'd still be willing to take a quarterback in the top 10 if I'm the Eagles. And the Cincinnati Bengals, man, they make out. They get Steenley. Steenley's amazing, dude. Dude's a phenomenal athlete. He had a bit of a sophomore slump, but I mean, let's be honest, that LSU defense just struggled. Period. But the dude, stupid athletic, dealt with injuries last year. If he could kind of return to form, everyone likes to point out that he never really played Devontae Smith that well. He gave up touchdowns back-to-back years on him. But in his freshman season, that was one of his lone touchdowns allowed, and it was to Smith, who went in the first part of the first round. And then he allowed another one last year where it was during Smith's Heisman campaign. I mean, let's be honest, Smith's a very good receiver, though. And I thought he did, for the most part, a decent job covering him last year. Outside of, obviously, the touchdown allowed. But Steenley's great, man. He's my top corner. And then Drake Jackson coming here at 6. I don't disagree with this too much. I think Drake Jackson, if he could show that high-end upside more consistently, because we've seen it sprinkled in here and there, then yeah, totally. This guy, he's got moves for days, man. He's a very, very good. Very, very good. And so much so that they kick him sometimes to the interior. And he's just... I think he's pretty solid run defender in that aspect as well. So yeah, I totally think he could be top 10 worthy. This edge class is really good. There's a lot of guys. There's going to be a lot of shuffling. We're going to see a lot of different, when it comes to people's top 10s, you're going to see a lot of different shuffling around there. But the Jets, yeah, get someone across from Carl Lawson. Heck yeah. And then the New York Giants, they draft their quarterback of the future. Carson Strong, super interesting here. So Carson Strong, I've watched a bit more of him, and I like him a lot. Dude's got a bionic arm, man. Stupid cannon. But shoot, man, like there's a lot to like about Carson Strong. Man, like he could be maybe this year's Zach Wilson. I don't think I don't think he's put throws on tape that are nearly as special as Zach Wilson, but I definitely could see him in that first round rise, man. He's a guy to watch out. He's like right now probably a day 2 guy for me. I probably think I might only have 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks that are first round. No, I'm probably gonna only have 3 quarterbacks that are first round worthy. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, Strong, it wouldn't surprise me at all. And yeah, Giants, you're in the top 10. Daniel Jones ain't working out. And then here comes Malik Willis as the heir apparent to Matt Ryan. This is super interesting. They weren't willing to do that last year. I mean, they wouldn't have been able to get a Trey Lance, but you could have got Justin Fields, who, yeah, I actually think probably both those guys are better prospects right now, currently, than Willis. But Willis, man, he's a former, like, great pedigree, former 4-star recruit, I believe. Ended up losing the job out to Bo Nix at Auburn and decided to transfer. That could worry some, but I mean, again, maybe they kind of pegged Bo Nix as the guy anyway. And Bo Nix had actually a pretty good freshman campaign. That's why everyone thought he was the bee's knees. But I don't know, man. If you're the Falcons, you're doing this. I mean, they did just move on from Julio, but like I would imagine they would be just trying to maybe like build around for one final run with Matt Ryan instead. I'm not opposed to the fact though. I'd be willing to do that. Then we see Kyle Hamilton going to the Broncos. Probably be, I don't know if they do. Well, I mean, Hamilton's actually pretty darn good though. Like, I don't care. Because who did they draft? It was Jackson, right? Oh, I can't remember the Indiana safety. No, it was Johnson. Jamar Johnson. Yeah, I don't care if I drafted him last year in the 6th round. Give me Kyle Hamilton, dude. He could do a lot of different things for your squad at safety. He's way more than just a safety. He could play in the box. He could, you could kick him out wide, man. Again, just a guy you can do a lot of fun different things with. Very aggressive when coming downhill, man. Comes downhill with some steam, as they would say. So Denver takes him here. I'm not opposed. Well, you know what? I'd be trying to get a quarterback. Oh, what am I saying? Then the New York Giants, this is their pick via the Bears. So they go Evan Neal. I like Evan Neal a lot. I think he's pretty athletic for his size. Not like, Tristan Wirfs or Mekhi Becton type athleticism for their sizes. But in his own right, I think he's pretty darn athletic. Probably going to be everyone's top tackle currently. Can't really dispute it. I think he moves to the left side. I'm not positive about that. But even if he stays on the right, like, you weren't beating him last year, man. You just weren't. But again, who was beating Alabama? So yeah, I like them getting protection for him. So maybe Matt Pert didn't work out, which sucks, man. I loved him coming out of Connecticut. Just seems like a Joe Judge guy too. Washington football team, they go Desmond Ridder. Another quarterback. That is interesting. Ridder, for me, I know some people disagree. I just don't see what he gets back. Like, if they're expanding the playoffs, I don't know if that's a for sure thing. I saw the whole idea of a 12-team playoff being thrown out there. That kind of changes things for Ridder. If he's able to come out and perform stellar against Power 5 competition, then okay, watch out. Then yes, maybe sign me up. But still, the offense he's operating, very similar to Sam Howell in North Carolina. It's very simplistic in what they do. They're not asking him to make a ton of difficult reads there. It's very RPO heavy. So, but he's got the arm. He's got plus athleticism. So could end up like this is a very deep quarterback class. Yeah, Washington. Yeah, Fitzmagic ain't your quarterback of the future. He's your quarterback right now, though, and he's pretty darn good. Let's see. We got Las Vegas Raiders going Treylon Burks is their top receiver. Yo, I'm not gonna throw shade. Burks is my top receiver. Typically, I don't go for these kind of like these more big-bodied contested catch guys, but I really think I think he's growing as a route runner. What they're asking him to do there at Arkansas, they're getting more creative with it. Like his freshman season, he was just a vertical threat, and then they kicked him in the slot and asked him to do a lot more on underneath and in the intermediate. And he did that extremely well. So I don't think by no means, no, he's not a complete route runner. He's getting there. I think he's a solid enough route runner. But yeah, he's my top guy too, dude. I like him a lot, man. I love Treylon Burks, man. The Raiders though, grabbing another receiver, that's kind of a head scratcher, you know? All right. Okay, so we're going to get through a bulk of picks here. So Christian Harris going to the Panthers. I'm not on the Christian Harris boat yet in terms of first round. I get it. He's a freak athlete. That's what everyone's going to say. He's a freak athlete. He's balls in coverage, though. He is balls. Everyone, like, we saw with Dylan Moses, who in his own right was a freak athlete. I would say Harris is way better in terms of his movement skills. He can move more laterally. I think Moses, he kind of struggled with that. He was literally your kind of a straight line guy. But Harris I think he just needs to improve in coverage. That just needs to be a thing there. I would not throw him in the like Micah Parsons conversation. Nowhere close. Parsons was a bully of a pass rusher, but he was solid in coverage. Like, I wouldn't say outstanding. Like, it's not like he did a lot of different things for you in coverage. Like, he didn't make plays in coverage, but he was solid. He wasn't getting beat in coverage. Harris was getting beat all over the place. So if I could see that improvement, yeah, I'm totally on board. For me, he's just more fringe first round at this moment. DeMarvin Leal going to the Minnesota Vikings. I like this. I like this quite a bit, actually. Do I? Minnesota's kind of stacked up front. I mean, why not? Like, Leal is a guy that you can kick to the outside. I kind of like the idea of Leal in a more 3-4 type of scheme as a 3-4 end, playing more to the inside. But most of his reps come to the outside of the tackle. And the dude's a monster. He's just kind of a freak athlete for being 290. So I'm a big fan. Big fan. Mon Gardner going to the Cardinals. He definitely fits their coverage scheme. The guy is just, he needs to put on a little bit more weight, but I'm a big Ahmad Gardner fan. I think he's my number 2 corner. But I mean, that's not saying much. The corner class, there's a lot of good players in it. But yeah, man, like, he probably has the most press man coverage snaps of any player in college football. And guess what? He's graded out particularly very nice. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers, Matt Corral. Wow, quarterback galore here. Matt Corral, man, he's J.R. Smith, man. He's streaky. Like, you're gonna love the upside of Corral, but man, when he is cold, oh, dude, it's sometimes unbearable. I need to see a bit more consistency from him. He's definitely maybe a day Duke guy for me. And that's the thing, dude. Like, with Corral, like, depending on how he plays next year, he could be anywhere from maybe fringe first rounder to like late day 3. But guy's kind of got a laser cannon for an arm. And then a couple other picks got here. George Karlaftis going to the Patriots. That's interesting. I guess they just get more up front. Wow. They get beefier. I like him a lot. He needs to he was beat up last year. I want to see him come out and look more like he did his freshman season before I put him in the first round conversation. Nice power rusher though. Kingsley Enogbear, dude is phenomenal. He's more of a bull in a china shop type of guy and needs to kind of work on his technique. He plays, as you would say, not out of control a bit more than not. Doesn't really seem to have a plan of attack. He just kind of goes. But dude's got a very, very big ceiling. Going to the Chargers there. They get a pass rusher. Okay. The Cowboys, they get more cornerback help with Andrew Booth Jr. So I watched a little bit more Booth recently, and I can see why people are pretty high on him. I just want him to come out and kind of like dominate this next season for Clemson. Like, he's very talented, don't get me wrong. But with how crowded the cornerback class is, I could easily see him as a day 2 guy right now for me. But I mean, Mel Kiper's really high on him. I think he's 24th on his big board. I'm not there yet. I don't think I just want to see a little bit more from him. Zach Harris. Why would the Eagles invest in more edge help? I mean, they could. I'm not opposed to it. Zach Harrison out of Ohio State. Guy's very good, man. I think he's a former 5-star. He's just your typical, hey, it's Ohio State. They push out bangers when it comes to their edge talent. He's just kind of that, man. He's got length. He's got good size. So, yeah. You could put a little bit more meat on them arms though, but that's just me. Then again, I haven't seen what he looked like recently, so maybe he did. It just looks like he's got thin arms compared to the rest of his frame. And then Tennessee, they're going wide receiver. I don't know about that after they got Julio, but Garrett Wilson is their second receiver that they have off the board. He's currently second on my rankings. Him and Chris Olave are fairly close to one another. It's just Garrett Wilson, man, is just spectacular. Once, like, how he attacks the football, in general as a route runner, just, oh gosh, he just kind of has an it factor to him. I want to see a bit more after the catch, and that's probably my biggest knock on Chris Olave, his teammate. Wilson's just better after the catch. Olave is not. On to the next. Indianapolis Colts, they go Kenyon Green. He's moving to left tackle, so we're going to see if he can be in this tackle class. Like, I think he's athletic enough to make the move there. He was probably my favorite piece of that Texas A&M offensive line last season. Mainly playing left guard. Looked very good there. He moves out to tackle, so could be. I think he's kind of the fringe first rounder right now. And then Sevyn Banks going to the Jets. They get cornerback help. Makes sense. I don't think Banks is there yet, just based on what we saw last year. I get it. Size, his athleticism, his length. It all kind of says first rounder. That Ohio State scheme kind of just pushes out first round talent. They're kind of DBU nowadays. I know LSU fans are going to be mad about that. But I just need to see better play, dude. Dude was not that great last year, especially versus Alabama. It was kind of a nightmare scenario. The Saints, they go Chris Olave. I kind of talked about him. He's a guy, he's got some sick burners. Doesn't do a lot after the catch, though, but gets phenomenal separation. Very polished route runner. And then the Browns go with an interior, Perion Winfrey. Winfrey's not a first rounder to me right now because he just seems like a passing down threat. And that's just kind of how he's used at Oklahoma. He's never really on the field for running downs. So I just want to see more of him as a run defender. But what he does as a pass rusher, as a disruptor, solid. And then the Miami Dolphins go... Oh, I don't even know how to overshown. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't watched this guy at all. DeMarvion overshown. I'm gonna have to look into this guy. I'm gonna have to look into this guy. Admittedly, Dolphins going linebacker though. I'm not against. It's not an ideal position or value, but I guess depending on the guy. Yeah, I can't really tell y'all much about him. That's interesting. Ooh, I can't wait to go into him then. Baltimore, they go Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. I don't know if he really fits that offense. That's an interesting one. Cross, for me, I would actually go, well, first there's Jackson Kirkland, who I'm a huge fan of out of Washington. But I think Zion Nelson's more of a fringe first rounder than Cross is, because Nelson actually has solid play. Like we've seen his development from his freshman season, and it's kind of huge. He's continuing to put on weight, while Cross, man, granted, in that air raid scheme that Mike Leach runs, it's very, like, he was constantly tested as a pass rusher, as a pass protector. It didn't always go well for him. He had a good game against Bama, but then against other against other good SEC teams. Why does it sound like I'm not saying that right? But I didn't think he looked particularly well. So that's interesting. Detroit Lions, Justin Ross. This must be their Mike Williams replacement, I think. Wow, no, what am I saying? I saw Los Angeles, wasn't even Chargers, it was the Rams. But Detroit, so they're getting a big body downfield guy. Okay, maybe this is their Kenny Golladay replacement then. Ross, I think there's just, for me, he's a big contested catch guy, like a vertical contested catch guy. It's about kind of all he is right now. And yeah, I think he has like a drop rate of 16%, which you don't like to see. That's pretty high. And on top of that, he's coming off the spinal surgery. So I would want to see how he checks out medically, and more importantly, how he plays next year coming off of that. I think there's just a lot of question marks with Ross right now, but I like Ross as a player, don't get me wrong. Green Bay, they go with offensive line help. Ikem Ekwonu at NC State, man. I think it was Bruce Feldman said he's kind of the Mekhi Becton of the offensive interior class this year. Yeah, I think right now he's playing left tackle there, and I think you see it that he's out of position a lot when playing tackle, especially in pass protection. But stupid strong, probably the best run blocker in all the ACC. And I definitely see the upside when it comes to him. But yeah, he's definitely a guard in the at the next level. Oh, here, Overshown was once a safety. Okay, man. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a bit of a dive into him. And then Jalen Wademeyer going to the Bills. I get this. You probably want to showcase a tight end as a first rounder. I don't think we have a first round tight end in this class. Wademeyer is great though. He's a solid blocker, but it's what he does as a pass catcher. I think he's pretty darn good. I would say I would put him up there in the like Pat Freiermuth range. Aiden Hutchinson going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This kind of makes sense since I thought Carlos Basham would be a good fit for the Buccaneers. But Hutchinson, I think, is more of an edge setter. Could be wrong based on how he plays this year, but I think he's more of a control the edge, control the line of scrimmage type of guy. His game translates well to the NFL. It's just one that's not highly drafted. And then this is an interesting one. Anais Smith. Hopefully I said that right. And they said anything. Yes, that's how Texas A&M uses him. They use him not only just as a receiver in the passing game, but as a running back. I think this is a really high for him because he's 5'10", or he's listed at 5'10", 190. I get a lot of Demetric Felton vibes from him. I think he's probably he's much better with the ball in his hands, like at forcing missed tackles, than maybe Felton was. But I could definitely see this guy as a day 2. I think first round though. Oh, I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if you get. It depends, I guess, on how special the offensive weapon is. Maybe they're trying. Maybe you make the comparison to like Kadarius Toney, but I don't think that's necessarily accurate either, though. But yeah, this one overall, I think this was interesting. There's a player now that they put on my radar and overshown, so I'm happy about that. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. I always look forward to what you're going to say. So that's it for the video. Go ahead and do that YouTube thing. And until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.